Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Gallagher and I'm currently in the film degree program at Full Sail. I'm taking some online classes right now and plan on moving down to Winter Park later this year. For some reason it surprises me how scared I am of moving down there, seeing as I've moved so many times in my life. I guess it's because this time I'm by myself, not with my family. We've been everywhere, my family and me, and it's such an odd variety of places, sometimes I even question that we lived there once. So far we've been to New Jersey, Germany, Texas, Alaska, and now I'm here in Florida. Germany, however, is by far the best place on that list. I loved it there. I would give anything just to go back and live there for the rest of my life. To me, Europe just screams home. Between the scenery, the food, the people, it's just too much to resist. I'm American and I love this country to death, but Europe is my home. I think I blabbed on long enough about that, don't you think? Anyway, I know the question you're probably asking in your heads right now is, why film? Well, movies have been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I've always loved going to the movie theater, and will always love it. I try going as often as I possibly can, and every single time I go, no matter whether it's a good movie or bad movie, I always have a good time. But for a very long time now, I've been fascinated with what goes on behind the camera as well. It's been my dream for so long that I would be the one calling action. My role model, to be completely honest, and someone who I've always aspired to be like, is George Lucas. I know he doesn't really direct anything anymore, but all of my favorite movies have his name on the label. Star Wars, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and American Graffiti, just to name a few. But to be honest, my favorite part of the filmmaking process is the writing of the script. I'm a storyteller and will be until the cows come home. I'm constantly imagining scenes and characters in my head. Sometimes it's all I ever think about. My only problem, to be honest, is that I'm kind of a murderous writer. What I mean by that is that there's hardly ever been a story or a screenplay that I've written where someone or something doesn't get killed off. When I was in high school, whenever I would write something and read it out loud to the class, the first question anyone would ask would be, who dies? I even have a t-shirt that says, careful or you'll end up in my novel. I swear, however, that I am not like that in real life at all. I'm really, really nice and friendly. I have to say, though, that if you do end up on my bad side, there is a chance you will end up in that novel or screenplay. Writing is perhaps the reason why I don't really like public speaking that much. I've always had a way with words on paper, but when it comes to saying them out loud, I kind of screw it up. This fear, however, is not as bad as it used to be. When I was a little younger, I used to be terrified of speaking publicly. If there's a phobia for speaking publicly, there probably is. I had it. However, this fear was somewhat relieved when in my sophomore year of high school, I joined a program called HIP. And to be honest, it's the best thing that ever happened to me in high school. Anyway, on one of the very first days of the program, we had to write an essay about what we had done over the summer and read it all loud to the class. Don't worry, no one dies in this one. Anyway, when it was my turn to read in front of the class, I stood up and saw that all eyes were on me. I was sweating and shaking so much, I think, more than anybody in history. I may have set a record that day. But anyway, I gulped, and then I started to read. I was a little shaky at first, stuttering, messing up sentences and words. But then as I continued on, it got way easier. And that was because, to be honest, there was no one, not paying attention. There was no one laughing at me, talking to their neighbor, rolling their eyes. Everyone was supportive and attentive to what I was saying. And it really made me feel good about myself inside, and made me feel more confident and, excited to keep reading and do it again, because I knew that I would have their support. The fear that I think the fear I had, to be honest, and what most people do have about speaking publicly, is that the audience is just there to judge you, nothing else. I think if people had a more supportive environment to get acquainted with public speaking, then their fear would be somewhat relieved. Public speaking, I think, is something that we all have to deal with at some point or another. It is scary, and something a lot of us do not like. However, learning to speak publicly well and effectively is what this class is all about, and I'm willing to try. I hope you are too. Thank you.